Hello, guys. Welcome back. Hope you all are doing good. So, in one of those instances where stars kind of align, in the last three videos, we had talked about the novel A House for Mr. Biswas by V.S. Naipaul. We had talked about the writer V.S. Naipaul, the place where he came from, Trinidad, his Indian origin. Now we have a podcast on V.S. Naipaul, the Empire podcast, in its latest edition, has released an entire episode on V.S. Naipaul, and they talk about his complex character, the place he came from, his writing, his overall character, all those things, and it's an amazing listen. And I've listened about 10 minutes of it, so it's really good. I'll put the link for the podcast in the description. And as I had mentioned in an earlier video, when I completed the book, I had researched a bit on the novel, and Naipaul says that his this novel is semi autobiographical, and it turns out, even though I hadn't researched it deeply, but I listened the podcast, so I urge all of you, if you're interested, to listen to it. But his father was a journalist. Uh, V.S. Naipaul was born in 1932. His father was a journalist. He tried and he made sure that Naipaul learns the language, and he wanted his son to write novels. He came from a very socio-economical background, a lower socio-economical background. So there wasn't much, they didn't have much where they came from. But he emphasized, on learning writing as a skill, because you need writing to express, even though you might have sentiments, you might have your expressions that you feel, but to carry those expressions in a form that can be communicated, you need writing. So he emphasized on that. His father published a few short stories as well. So you can see the influence of his own story in the book, because in the book also, Mr. Biswas is a journalist, and he has different professions, but in the end he is a journalist. So I'll put the link for the podcast in the description. I hope you, if you are interested, you can give it a listen, and hope you enjoy it. Now I'll read a paragraph from the novel, just to set the scene for this particular read that I'm doing. So this is where Mr. Biswas, after leaving the Hanuman house, which we talked about in the last video, he went to the Hanuman house after their first kid was born. After his first kid was born, and so after that, he has left Hanuman house. Now he's going back to the shop, but in between he visits his friend Misr, who is also sort of kind of a writer for this newspaper, which Mr. Biswas eventually works for, the Sentinel. So he writes for that as well. So here it goes. He came out through the side gate and wheeled his cycle past the arcade, which was already filling up with the evening crowd of old Indian-born men who came there to smoke and talk. He cycled to Mrs. rickety little wooden house and called at the lighted window. Mr. pushed his head past the lace curtain and said, "Just the man I wanted to see. Come in." Mr. said he had packed his wife and children off to his mother-in-law. Mr. Biswas guessed the reason to be a quarrel or a pregnancy. Been working like hell without them too, Mr. said, writing stories. For the Sentinel? Short stories, Mr. said, uh, with his old impatience. Just sit down and listen. Mrs. first story was about a man who had been out of work for a month and was starving. His 5 children were starving. His wife was having another baby. It was December. The shops were full of food and toys. On Christmas Eve, the man got a job. Going home that evening, he was knocked down and killed by a motor car. That didn't help. Hell of a thing, Mr. Biswas said. I like the part about the car not stopping. Mrs. smiled and said fiercely, but life is like that, is not a fairy story. Not once upon a time there was a Raja nonsense. Listen to this one. Mrs. second story about a man who had been out of work for months and was starving. To keep his large family, he was selling his possessions, and finally, he had nothing left but 2 shilling sweepstake ticket. He didn't want to sell it, but one of his children fell dangerously ill and needed medicine. He sold the ticket for 1 shilling and bought medicine. The child died. The ticket he had sold won the sweepstake. Hell of a thing, Mr. Biswas said. What happened? To the man? Why are you asking me? Use your imagination. Hell of a thing. People should know about these things, Mrs. said. Know about life. You should start writing some stories yourself. I just don't have time, boy. Have a little property in the chase now, Mr. Biswas posed, but Mr. didn't react. Married man, too, responsibilities, he posed again. Daughter? God, Mr. exclaimed in disgust. God, just born. Mr. shook his head, sympathizing. Cat in a bag, cat in a bag. That is all we get from this cat in the bag business. This cat in the bag business here that is being referenced is the practice that they use it as a euphemism for the arranged marriages, that people that happen in Indian society. Euphemism used for arranged marriages. It's kind of a funny expression, cat in a bag. Mr. Biswas changed the subject. What about the Aryans? Why are you asking? You don't really care. Nobody don't care. Just tell them a few fairy stories and they're happy. They don't want to face facts, and this Shivlochan is a damn fool. They sent Pankaj Raj back to India. Sometimes I stop and wonder what's happening to him over there. I suppose a poor man in rags, starving in some gutter, can't get a job or anything, You could just make a good story out of Pankaj. Just what I was going to say. The man was a purist, a born purist. Mister, you still working for the Sentinel? Blasted center line still. Why? A damn funny thing happened today. You know what I see? A pig with 2 heads. Where? Right here, Hanuman house, from their estate. But Hindus like Tulsis wouldn't keep pigs. You would be surprised, of course, it was dead. For all his reforming instinct, Mr. was clearly disappointed and upset. Anything for the money these days. Still, is a story. Going to telephone it in straight away. Then Mr. Biswas left. Occupation, labor. This will show them. That is the end scene. So you can see, the kind of stories here are pretty bleak. So that was the read for the day. I hope you like the video, and I'll put the link for the podcast in description. Okay, have a great time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.